Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting video, and in this video we are going to learn about horizontal pod autoscaling versus vertical pod autoscaling in a Kubernetes. So let's get started. So before going deep into it, we need to understand what is a pod first. So pod is the smallest individual element in a Kubernetes that lets you deploy your application container into a pod. It can be a multiple container into a single pod. Okay, and let's understand what is a scaling is. So scaling is, suppose you have managing the school where the 100 students are learning every day, and in the next year you need to admit 100 student more. You don't have a capacity for the 100 plus students, then you need to scale the infrastructure according to 200 students. So this is what a scaling is. You are increasing the infrastructure to manage the upcoming loads. Similarly, in a technical term, you are increasing the number of servers, number of pods, or the resource size to handle the upcoming traffic. So let's understand the horizontal pod auto scaling. Suppose you have a number of users and this is your pod where your application is deployed. And in the next day, suppose the number of users are increasing, then you need to scale your infrastructure so that you don't need to manage the downtime, and the customer experience is going to be decreased and the trust is going to be decreased by your customer. So for that, we increase the number of pods in the horizontal way in the HPA. So you have the same size of CPU and the memory of pod, but you are increasing the number of pods. This is called scale out scaling because we are increasing the pod number of pod in a horizontal way. And if you want to scale down, suppose the traffic is going to be decrease at the night time, then you need to auto scale or auto decrease the traffic also. Then you delete this pod. It going to be auto deleted in auto scaling. So this pod is going to be also deleted, this pod also going to be deleted. That's we are doing scaling. These are in a horizontal way. And talking about pros in a horizontal pod auto scaling, it is a faster and it is used for stateless application, not for a database application where you need to deploy your application which should maintain a state that is needed in a database. And this is much faster than HPA and widely used in the industry and in production. And let's talk about the vertical pod auto scaling. Similarly, if you have a number of users using your application, and if the number of users are going to be increased, you need to increase the size of your pod. Suppose currently we are using a 12 CPU and a 20 GB RAM. In the next time, we are increasing it to 120 CPU and 200 GB of a RAM. So in this vertical pod auto scaling, we are increasing the size of a resource, not increasing the number of resources. And this is slower. So vertical pod auto scaling is slower than HPA, and it restart the pod for a recreation, which is a downside for this VPA. Is useful for stateful application like where your application need to maintain the state like a database. So this is what a horizontal and a vertical pod auto scaling is. And this is the part one of this HPA versus a VPA. In the next video, we are going to do the hands-on in the kind cluster where we are going to write the manifest for both HPA and a VPA. And we are going to deploy a Nginx and going to generate the load so that we can see the difference between HPA and a VPA in scaling. So I hope you learned something new in this video, and मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, बाय।